Hello, so I've talked about Palestine through my community tab and socials, but I've wanted to make an actual video for a while when I had the time and everything written out. So here I am explaining and summarizing the best that I can. And after this, I highly recommend going to decolonizepalestine.com for more detailed information. Palestine is home to many Arabs and Muslims, with a few Christians and Jewish people as well. Here's maps of Palestine and Palestine coins. Britain took Palestine from the Ottoman Empire after World War I, and they called for a national home for Jewish people in occupied Palestine. Then in 1947, they handed Palestine over to the United Nations. They introduced a partition plan to separate Palestine to a 55% Zionist Jewish state and 45% Arab Palestinian state. Okay, Palestinians were planned to only have less than half of their land. Then in 1948, quote-unquote Israel and the Zionist entity was created on an already established and occupied Palestine. This led to the Nakba, Arabic word for catastrophe, where Zionist military forcibly expelled 750,000 Palestinians and killed 15,000, taking 78% of their historic Palestine land, leaving the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. This is what has led to 75 plus years of illegal settlements, mass displacements, killings, bombings, and detentions of Palestinians. Israel illegally occupied the Gaza Strip and West Bank in 1967, and since 2007, Gaza has been under an open-air prison blockade. This limits Palestinians to food, aid, clean water, and travel. The Intifadas were wide-scale protests by Palestinians against Israel, and during the first one in 1987, Hamas was formed as a resistance group that fights back against the Israeli occupation for the liberation of Palestinians. For years, Gaza has continuously been under siege by Israeli forces. Specifically from 2008 to 2022, they've killed, bombed, and detention/abducted thousands of Palestinians. So Hamas on October 7, 2023 fired back and sent airstrikes onto Israel with their fighters who targeted Israeli soldiers, and took 240 Israelis as hostage but released 100 during a 7-day pause in November. There is no evidence Hamas has ever mistreated them. Israeli forces, though, mistreat their thousands of Palestinian men, women, and children, prisoners/hostages, with women and girls having accounts of being degraded, sexually assaulted, raped, denied food, medicine, and period products. And this stuff has happened even before today. So, as of February 28th, since October, over 29,000 Palestinians have been murdered by Israeli occupation forces, over 12,000 of those being children and infants. And 69,000, maybe 70,000 have been injured. There's approximately over 1.4 million Palestinians displaced in the south of Gaza, specifically Rafah, where Israel states is a safe zone but continues to bomb and kill there. They're even planning a full-scale ground invasion during Ramadan, like they've done other Ramadans. Few aid trucks enter the south, with the people in the north experiencing famine, eating animal feed and grass. Update, as of the 29th, it is now 30,000 Palestinians murdered, as over 100 were killed and over 700 injured by Israeli tanks, while they were waiting for and trying to get aid from the trucks, both in the south and north. So how should you help? What should we do? Well, number one, boycott. Boycott brands affiliated with or who support Israel. On screen is a list of them. As you can see, they're all separated by different scale targets. McDonald's and also Starbucks are the bigger ones. Find alternatives to these places like local coffee shops or other fast food places. Number two, learn and spread information. Repost what you see. Use decolonizepalestine.com and aljazeera.com to get your information. If your friend isn't educated enough or is neutral, educate them. It's not hard. Tell them what they could be doing wrong and to boycott. Use the watermelon emoji, as the watermelon is a support symbol for Palestine. I'll have information links in the description, including some videos. Number three, donate if you can. Donate to charities that go directly to families and children in Gaza and those who want to evacuate Rafah. I'll leave a few charities and fundraisers on screen, but I'll also have more linked in the description. Also, GazaESIMs.com provides everything you need to know on how to donate eSIMs to Palestinians so they can continue documenting the genocide. Because Israel controls the internet in Gaza, Palestinians can't get good connection, and Israel will just cut the internet off. Number four, look up your representatives in your country/state and contact them via call or email to demand a ceasefire. Number five, protest if you can. Protest in your local areas or cities where protests are happening or being arranged. And some accounts to follow that I recommend: on Twitter at Times of Gaza, Gaza Notice, Kadsnen, Hind_Gaza, and Muhammad Samidi. On TikTok at Wizard_Pisan1, Al Jazeera English, and Gaza Press Heroes, which repost videos of journalists in Gaza. Now, Zionism. Zionism and anti-Semitism are two different things. Zionism is supporting the illegal occupation and colonization of Palestine. Anti-Semitism is discrimination and prejudice against Jewish people, and not every Jewish person is a Zionist. Being against an ethnic cleansing that's gone on for 75 plus years is not anti-Semitic. Being neutral doesn't exist when it's about colonization, ethnic cleansing, or any serious topic such as this. It is not a complicated subject when it's as simple as genocide and apartheid. Nor is this a war, or a conflict, or political. A genocide isn't political. Free the hostages! Prime Minister of Israel has rejected multiple deals from Hamas, including a permanent ceasefire, in exchange for every single Israeli hostage. Palestine doesn't support the LGBTQIA+. That doesn't mean they should be ethnically cleansed. And there are literally LGBTQ Palestinians that exist, including ones that have been murdered. It's self-defense, and the self-defense in question is murdering over 12,000 children, killing 100+ journalists, stripping down and humiliating their Palestinian prisoners, sniping Palestinians out of nowhere, taking pictures with Palestinians' canes and Palestinian women's lingerie, posing as Palestinians to raid a hospital and open fire, purposefully withholding food from them, mocking Palestinians on social media and calling them animals. I mean, that's just a handful of examples. So, while you're here, I also want to talk about Congo and Sudan. Congo is very rich with minerals like coltan, cobalt, which is used to make our devices, phones, laptops, vapes, etc. Congolese men, women, and children are being enslaved to mine these minerals in exchange for only a couple of dollars per day, with other countries getting huge profit. Rebel groups have killed 6 million people, women are raped and assaulted, and 7 million are displaced. If you need a new phone or laptop because it's broken, buy them refurbished or used from a third party.
What is the war in Congo about? The war in Congo has many layers to it, and the reasons have evolved over time. The reason at play today is the heavy deposit of mineral resources, particularly cobalt. Congo produces around 70% of the world's cobalt. Cobalt has become a significant mineral that is said to be the key to the future, and everyone wants it. The US, Britain, France, Israel, and many other countries continue to finance rebel groups to destabilize Congo so that cobalt could be extracted at a cheap price and also easily smuggled out of the country. The Congolese people have become slaves in their own country, controlled by rebel groups to manually extract cobalt for sale in the black market. Most of the cobalt that is exported by Rwanda is actually smuggled illegally from Congo through the help of the M23. The discovery of cobalt has made Congo one of the wealthiest nations in the world, but making its people the poorest in the world. Cobalt is used mainly for lithium-ion batteries, for smartphones, tablets, laptops, electric vehicles, jet engines, medical scanners, and many other devices.
In Sudan, tensions between the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese Army Forces has resulted to a genocide of the Sudanese people, specifically in Khartoum, Darfur, Kordofan, and Wad Madani. They've been victim to the RSF, being murdered, raped, kidnapped, and displaced. The RSF has also destroyed homes and settled in them. 6+ million people have been displaced, 15,000 murdered, and on top of this, Sudan has a shortage of food, water, aid, etc., and their internet has been cut off. And even more, Yemen is experiencing one of the biggest humanitarian crises due to a civil war between the group Houthi and Yemen's corrupt government. And worse is that US and UK have sent airstrikes onto Yemen because the Houthis have been attacking Israel-affiliated ships in the Red Sea in solidarity with Palestine. Lebanon is being bombed by Israel because Hezbollah has been in solidarity with Palestine, sending airstrikes to Israel army bases. Syria has dealt with earthquakes and a corrupt leader, so thousands of Syrians have been killed and millions displaced. Israel has also bombed it. Tigray has been purposefully limited to aid by the Ethiopian government. Haiti has dealt with earthquakes, famine, fuel shortages, mass gang violence, their president was assassinated, so thousands of people are displaced and thousands more killed. Puerto Rico dealt with Hurricane Maria in 2017, which has led to economic collapse, rising house prices, starvation, and displacements. Puerto Rico was never even given recovery funds until 2020. So, along with Palestine, we must also include Congo, Sudan, Yemen, Lebanon, Syria, basically every country or region going through a genocide or massacre right now. Lastly, stop going to Hawaii because their economy and ecosystem are declining due to tourists. Anyway, that is all. Thank you for watching until the end. Free Palestine, and do what you can.
If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings. Make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself. Sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale.